Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of Homespun. Wow, this is number 38, and it's great to be with you again. From what I can see on the feed, it's across the United Kingdom anyway. It's rain everywhere. You're all reporting how soaked you are from your morning walks or afternoon walks, and well, time to dry off and spend some time with us as we share some songs, some music. I've got a very special guest here today, which is Paul Field. He's in the green room currently practicing his scales, and it's going to be great to have Paul share his songs and music. So welcome on behalf of Team Bilbrough to Homespun from the Homestead. Here we go. One spirit, we are called by God to reach out and serve one another in the Father's love. And again now, one heart, one spirit, we are called by God to reach out and serve one another in the Father's love. We started a journey and the road may be long. We won't be distracted till the work is all done. We'll follow his leading, we'll do what he asks, 'cause we're moving forward, not back to the past. One heart, one spirit, we are called by God to reach out and serve one another in the Father's love. The way may be costly, the price will be great, but we're going the distance, whatever it takes. It won't be easy, there'll be times we're confused, but when we stand together, His love will shine through. One heart, one spirit, we are called by God to reach out and serve one another in the Father's love. One heart, one spirit, we are called by God to reach out and serve one another in the Father's love. We are marching to the sound of a different drum. We are marching to the sound of a different drum. We are marching to the sound of a different drum. Yeah, we're marching to a sound of a different drum that includes everybody. Everybody is welcome. Certainly everybody is welcome to Homespun. And those of you who have joined from Paul's Field, a very big welcome to you. You know, we've been going some months, as I say, 38 weeks. Songs, stories, music, and time together, and over that time it's been really wonderful to see the formation of kind of those who verbalise through the live stream what's happening and what's going on. Charlie Churchill, well, I know he's become very good friends with Sydney the urban fox. I mean, he was sort of in our garden for a while, but he seems to have gone over to West London. And Rufus the garden rat as well. They seem to be, gathering together for the afternoon tea sessions frequently, and I hear it's going swimmingly well. Last week I believe they even had a special soiree just to recount some of the Homespun sessions that we've had. How's your hair doing? I mean, mine is it's getting pretty long. Pat has to do special sort of work on my hair nowadays before I actually make it onto the screen here. But as I say, everybody is welcome to this place, and songs new and old, guests, I was going to say new and old, but guests with us, really, really great, and thank you for joining with us. The hungry shall be satisfied. The hungry shall be satisfied. The hungry shall be satisfied at the table of the Lord. There's room for every homeless child. There's room for every homeless child. There's room for every homeless child at the table of the Lord. Take your rightful place. Take your rightful place. The immigrants and refugees, the old, the frail, and those in need will find the welcome that they seek at the table of the Lord. A seat for you. There's a seat for you. Come wayside strugglers, one and all, the poor, forgotten and ignored. Your destiny will be explored at the table of the Lord. Come wayside wanderers, one and all, the poor, forgotten and ignored. Your dignity will be restored at the table of the Lord. Yeah. That's it. Everyone is welcome. That's the good news of the gospel. The poor, the needy, those who are going through issues right now because of COVID. You are very, very welcome. The isolated, those people who are uncertain about the future, you are very welcome, not only here, but in the sight of God. That is the gospel. And you know, today, special day, because it was exactly 1 year ago that the first 2 patients were admitted into Newcastle Hospital with COVID in the United Kingdom. That was the start of what has been such a horrendous year. And, you know, many of us have gone through difficult times of isolation, indeed, across the world. And there's a song that, before I introduce Paul, I just want to sing with you. You can join in with this, actually. But it's a song that I wrote just a few days before we did our last session last week. And it's based on Psalm 62, which, you know, the Psalms are such great raw material for songs, and this just sort of fell out really just while I was kind of warming up, preparing one day for a Homespun. And it's a psalm that just reminds us where we truly do find peace and rest. My soul finds rest in you alone, the source of my salvation. My soul finds rest in you alone, the source of my salvation. You are my rock, my fortress. Should I face harm, I won't be shaken. My soul finds rest in you alone, the source of my salvation. Though sorrow seeks to overwhelm me, I will not fear, for you have spoken. My soul finds rest in you alone, source of my salvation. Though sorrow seeks to overwhelm me, I will not fear, for you have spoken. My soul finds rest in you alone, the source of my salvation. Just one more time. My soul finds rest. Do sing if you want. My soul finds rest in you alone, the source of my salvation. Great. Well, I can see that Paul has warmed up in the green room and eaten some Smarties as well that I provided. Paul, a very big welcome to you to Homespun.
Thank you, Dave.
Hold on, let me get me headphones on here.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. Well, I'm joining you from a very dark and dreary Devon today.
Yes.
Very miserable out there. As you can see, my studio is quite dark and I can't actually get any more light in. If the sun was out, it would be fine. But
yeah.
it's
well, it's
best
great
not
to have you here, Paul.
Well, thank you.
I mean, we used to meet up in London where you were.
Yep.
And we had coffees at Festival Hall and all sorts of places, and wax lyrical about the needs of the day. But you've moved down to Devon, haven't you? So where exactly are you?
We're in a little town. Well, I call it a village, but the locals would call it a town called Bovey Tracy, which is about 12 miles west of Exeter. So we're right on the edge of Dartmoor. I mean, looking through my window, I can see Dartmoor from it. Well, I could if it wasn't so misty and cloudy. But we're very fortunate in a way, especially in these times, to be in such wide open spaces.
Yeah. I mean, it is a beautiful place. For those of you who don't know the area, I mean, it's absolutely. And yesterday, when we did a little sound check, the sun was streaming through the window, and I was very, very jealous. You've got a studio, haven't you, there?
Yeah, I'm sitting downstairs. There's like two rooms, downstairs, which is like the live room, which is where the piano is, which I'll play later, and the upstairs, which is kind of business end, where the computer is and all the other stuff. And the view from upstairs is absolutely fabulous. I mean, having worked for 30 plus years in the attic room of a little 3-bedroom house in South London, it's marvellous. So we're really blessed to be here.
Well, see, I remember the first time I ever saw you, because you were in a band, well, three of you, called Nutshell. And it was Westminster Central Hall, and coming from good Methodist stock as you did, that became your second home, Westminster Central Hall in many ways. But you were with Barry Maguire.
Oh, wow.
And I remember it well. There was Barry Maguire, an American singer who actually became a friend of ours. But you were with Barry Maguire playing, and I remember it well because you actually dropped your cherished guitar on the
Martin.
On the Martin. And a friend I was with, Nick Butterworth, who may well be watching, I remember he came up to you and gave you some cash towards the repair, if I can remember, which is great, the practical help that we all need.
I remember that now you say, because I was using a pedal of some kind, and it was a really old-fashioned pedal, so it had a really hard metal button. Yeah. And the guitar dropped from the strap and literally impaled itself. In front of whatever it was, 2,000 people. So it was that was a bit of a shocking moment. But,
that is a bit of a nightmare moment, isn't it?
I've forgotten that one, but yeah.
So
interesting. Just to not disagree, but in fact, although I have huge associations with the Methodists over the years, with Rob Frost and whatever, actually I was brought up a Baptist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With a green hymn book.
Yeah, with a green hymn book, that's right. So the association with Methodism really all came about through the friendship and the working relationship with Rob.
Yeah, with Rob. I see. I never knew that. There we are. Life is interesting. Well, see, Nutshell, they were kind of, a sort of second chapter of Acts kind of thing, weren't they? Harmonies, and you were writing songs for them.
Yeah.
And we've actually got a picture of you a few years ago. The Nutshell years, some will remember it. I mean, you actually look such a smooth man. What year was that? Do you remember, Paul?
That'll be about 78. That's the second. That's actually the third Nutshell album.
Was it really?
Yeah. And that's my. We used to call it my Pat Boone suit. Because he always used to.
Oh, you did wear it more than once. You didn't wear it wear it for the photograph.
No. I used to wear it on stage. Can you believe it?
Oh my goodness!
Permed hair, the Kevin Keegan hairdo. For those that remember it, that's long gone, as you can see.
Yeah. And then you went into sort of mainstream thing with Network, wasn't it? Network 3, and that's where you kind of got involved with Cliff Richard. And in
Yeah.
fact, you wrote some songs for Cliff,
Yeah, over the years he's done a few, which has been fabulous. You know, it's like
including the famous one.
the Millennium Prayer. Funny that, you know, everybody wants to talk about that, and I have to say, I mean, there was a documentary about Cliff on Channel 5 recently, and they interviewed me about that, and it's like, I have to say, it was wonderful what happened with it, but it was not a song I would be most proud of, because actually it was an idea, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. It was an arrangement. It wasn't a song I wrote from the ground up.
Yeah.
It actually came out of one of the musicals with Rob,
Yeah.
which was all based around the Lord's Prayer. And it was, as I say, it was just a bit of a crazy idea that just happened to fly.
Yeah. Amazing.
And, you know, it was very controversial at the time. But, you know, one of my favourite memories, I mean, there was some not good memories in a way, because there was a lot of criticism of it from Christians and otherwise. But the night it went to #1 and it was on Top of the Pops, and I was watching it for the first time, after the show finished, Graham Kendrick, who you know well, who lived quite close to me in Southland, he phoned me up and he said, you know, whatever people think of it, whatever they say, the fact that it's getting the words of Jesus to millions of people as the millennium turns, you know, is a fantastic thing. You know, because the word that goes out doesn't come back empty.
Yeah.
So it was great. So I'm not belittling the song at all, but as a songwriter,
Not your favourite.
not my proudest bit of work. Really,
No, I know. Yeah. But that sometimes happens, doesn't it? You know, you write a song and it takes off, and you think, oh well, okay.
Well, there's another song which Pat will probably remember from a kid's song called "The Wiggly Waggly Worm" that loads of people remember, and actually it's still played a lot. It's used in schools and everywhere. I can see it'll be written on my tombstone. You know, here lies the man that wrote "The Wiggly Waggly Worm." That's what I'll be remembered for, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you've written so many songs, and you've written with some great artists: Elkie Brooks, Tammy Wynette. You won Ivor Novello Award. I mean, that is a very prestigious thing for those of you who aren't familiar in that kind of songwritery music field, and also got a Dove Award, didn't you?
Yep,
So
in Nashville.
I'm speaking to a craftsman songwriter. I mean, you're writing songs for all sorts of genres. You've done, you know, your own solo work, because, you know, I'm on the road and you're on the road, and often they say, oh, we had Paul Field last time and he was brilliant. And then you sort of step into, you think, oh no, I've got to live up to that.
Wow.
You know,
So
and
this is only about the second time I've played live, Dave, in a year. So, I've forgotten how to do it. I can feel my voice is going already. You know.
But you've got this thing whereby it's called the Song Doctor.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What you do?
It's a kind of Nashville idea, really, that I picked up from there, and I've done a bit. I mean, in fact, I've actually been a lecturer at Bath Spa University on songwriting for a year or two. Essentially, you know, there's a lot of people out there who like to write songs, and I mean, you've already made very polite reference to the fact that I've been around a very long time, and the Song Doctor idea is simply that people send me their songs, however rough and ready, and I critique them. Is really the proper word. You know, I just tell them what I think. Not necessarily on the basis that I know best, because there is no right and wrong way, really, of writing a song, but just based on the experience you have of what works and what doesn't.
Yes.
So, you know, it's just really commenting and trying to help, you know, well, not necessarily young, but trying to help new songwriters.
Yes.
You know, as they
and there are certain universal, basic things that, you know, are obvious over time, but to someone starting out aren't so you know, obvious.
No, very much so.
Obviously, it's worth saying that there's some payment involved with that. You know,
there is. I haven't done one for so long.
You have to make a living.
It's about 20
anyone out
quid,
there, that might
20
be,
quid a pop, I think, is what the website says.
Well, let's hear one of your songs, Paul, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more. Yeah, with the guitar, you're sat there.
Set me up for a fall now.
Yeah, yeah. You play a song and I'll critique
you critique
Paul.
it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let me just have a glug here.
All right, mate.
Well, I'm going to do a couple of quite new ones a bit later on, but I mean, I thought I'd be on safer ground if I started with something I at least ought to remember fairly well. This was from a project I did some years ago called Cargo, and then actually a project came out of that called Stolen Lives, which essentially was about human trafficking. Last night I dreamed I saw an angel walking somewhere behind the barricades, where you and I would be afraid to tread, where the wounds of war are made. Stepping over the helpless and the weak in the wreckage of their lives. Cold rain is running down her cheek like the tears from God's own eyes, singing mercy, where are you? When will justice come? Not till we all live in hope and peace will the angels' work be done. Last night I dreamed I saw an angel dancing down the corridors of power, dancing for truth upon the greed and lies that seem to pave those hallowed towers. He sees the leaders we've elected, kings talk of freedom and sacrifice. Pious words but empty offerings when it's the poor who pay the price. Singing mercy, where are you? When will love come down? Not till we all live on equal terms can we walk on common ground. Last night I dreamed I saw the angel weeping for the outcasts and the lost. Their hungry cries sound like a million nails hammered on one single cross. And he sees the children chained in poverty. He sees us watch on from paradise. Different values in different worlds, different sides to God's own dice. We're singing mercy, where are you? How long will it be till we all live on equal terms and every heart is free? Singing mercy, oh, where are you? When will justice come? Not till we all live in hope and peace will the angels' work be done. Not till we all live in hope and peace will the angels' work be done.
poignant song, might I add.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for that. I mean, the combination of the guitar work and the lyric, just beautiful.
Well,
and I know
it's
we come
funny.
out the same sort of stable when it comes to music,
Yeah.
because it's people like James Taylor,
Yeah.
Paul
Paul Simon,
Simon,
all
Joni
those kind of
Mitchell,
guys.
my
Yeah.
great
Absolutely.
great hero with her open tunings,
Yeah.
And
Well, that's why I tend to use open tuning almost all the time now.
yes,
You know, as I say, I'm not getting the chance to play much. And actually, you'll know this, but you've probably kept your chops going better than me. But that kind of clawhammery thing, I tell you,
Yeah.
halfway through that, I thought, oh, I'm going to have to start strumming. I can't do that anymore. I need to practice.
yeah, it's
I've
funny.
not been
it's,
practicing enough.
Do you find it, when you write a new song, you've written the song and then it comes to the moment you actually play it to other people, it suddenly sounds very, very different. It's like when
yeah.
you're playing it on your own, it can sound brilliant, and then suddenly you've got a room full of people, you're playing it for the first time and you think,
I
I
think
can't remember how this goes. I know
I've
James
made them-
Taylor used to say he had to play a song 21 times live, in a live
Yeah,
21
really?
different concerts before he could say he really it was part of him.
Listen, I totally agree with that. I'd never heard that, but I think I've made a mistake a lot in the past of actually recording a new song before I've played it live. And then you play it live
Yeah.
half a dozen times or more, and suddenly you think, oh, actually, I need to change that.
Yeah.
Or that could go better here.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to play it
Yeah.
live. I mean, I still change things in songs I wrote 40 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Every now and again, because it's,
Yeah.
what's the saying? I mean, a work of, well, I don't want to call it a work of art, but like a work of art is never finished, it's just abandoned. You reach a point where you can kind of do no more.
Yeah.
And of course the problem is once you record it, it is set in stone.
It is set in stone.
And you can
yeah.
look back, and I'm sure, or maybe you don't, but maybe you do, you can look back at some songs you've recorded and you think, oh, if only I hadn't
only
done
I'd-
that, or I'd done that differently, or that
Yeah.
sound had been different, or those words had been slightly different.
Yeah.
But hey, it's
Yeah.
writing songs is just it's such a wonderful gift, to us to be able to do it and express ourselves through doing
How did
that.
it work? I mean, at one stage you were flown over to America to write with other people. And if I've got it right, you get a phone call in the morning and you would be suddenly in a room that afternoon with someone you'd never met before.
Yeah.
Right. How did that work?
it's-
Co-writing a
it's-
song with someone you've never met before.
Well, it's the weirdest thing. I mean, looking back on it, it was a wonderful discipline, but it was like, to begin with, it was very kind of unnatural. And yeah, I mean, I was working for EMI Publishing in Nashville, doing songs, Christian songs, but also some country things. And the way it would work is, yeah, exactly that. You would fly out and they would set up appointments for me. And of course, at the beginning, I didn't know anybody in Nashville. So you turn up at 10 o'clock in the morning at EMI's offices, and there were basically lots of little rooms like cells. They had a piano in and a little tape recorder in those days. And your appointment, you might be just another writer or might be an artist. Coming in, literally, you'd shake hands. Oh, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And you'd have, someone would have filled you in on who was looking for songs, what artists were looking for songs, what kind of songs they were looking for. And that was your starting point. And you do that kind of till lunchtime, and then you do another one in the afternoon, somewhere else, and probably another one in the evening.
Oh my goodness.
So by the end of a week, you had at least the start of the best part of 20 songs.
Yes.
And, but if one out of the 20 ever got recorded, that was a very good hit rate.
Yeah.
And I learned very fast, actually, it's just the kind of politics of it, that if you were writing with another writer for an artist, that's fine. But if you were actually writing with the artist, that had much more chance of getting on the record
Yes.
than if the artist wasn't involved, which is understandable.
Yes.
But, it was a completely different way of writing for me. But
Yeah.
and also meeting people who all had a different way of writing.
Of course.
They approached it differently.
Yes.
And it was fascinating and an incredibly good learning experience. Because at the end of the day, songwriting is a craft. And for me, it's always especially been about the lyrics. You mentioned Joni Mitchell, Paul Simon. I mean, lyrics are crucial to me, and actually the craft of lyrics has always, language and how we use it, and it's fascinated me. And it is the most important. I'm no virtuoso player, but I play guitar, I play piano. Really, that's the carpet for my lyrics to walk on.
Yeah.
That's what's the most important to me.
But you do very, very well. And maybe we can hear another song, and then I'll come back, sing a couple, and then we'll have you back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a bit different. This is fairly new. I mean, I wrote this pretty soon after Mr. Trump had arrived on the scene, which was also quite soon after Brexit and all the rest. I'm not going to get too political, but I could easily do. So, normally I play this on electric guitar with all kinds of wazzy effects, but I haven't got them here, so I'll do my best. But if this applied, 4 years ago, it certainly applies to the world we live in now, big time. This is called The Politics of Kindness. The politics of kindness, the diplomacy of love, the art of forgiveness is powerful enough to shape a new tomorrow beyond the lies and greed. The politics of kindness is what we need. We live in troubled times with cheats and racketeers, misleading us with fake news, exploiting all our fears. Compassion is forgotten, tolerance is lost. Somewhere in the future, our children count the cost. The language of division, the words that fan the flames, the fire of our prejudice that looks for someone else to blame. The gospel of indifference, blind eyes that we turn. The space that grows between us when we let the bridges burn. The messages of mercy, the principles of peace are harder to hear now, where hate and violence increase. How long will it take us till we read the signs? How long will it take us till we see we're running out of time? The politics of kindness, the diplomacy of love, the art of forgiveness is powerful enough to shape a new tomorrow beyond the lies and greed. The politics of kindness is all we need. The politics of kindness is what we need. Just about gone.
Amen to that. The politics of kindness.
I can see I'm getting
We
darker
certainly-
and darker.
Well, I'm going to let you get on the piano in a minute, but
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going to sing a song before that, and we'll get you back in just a while you go back into the backstage. This is a song actually was written out of looking out in this world, and really following on from that thread, I guess, about those who are suffering, persecuted one way or another for their religious faith. For every child that stands abused, for all the lonely and confused, for those who suffer for the truth. Hear our prayer. For those who mourn the ones they knew, who stand accused for loving you. Lord, we long to see you move. Hear our prayer. 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 For all who bear the marks of hate, who are wounded for your sake, these are champions of the faith. Hear our prayer. 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 For those who weep, for those who grieve, for those in need, we intercede. Console the powerless and the weak, the ones denied a right to speak. Bring your comfort and release. Hear our prayer. 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 Yeah, hear our prayer. And our prayer not only verbally but in action as well, as we stand against the injustice of this world. I believe there is a God in heaven who paid the price for all our sin, shed his blood to open up the way for me to walk with him, gave his life upon a cross, took the punishment for us, offered up himself in love. Jesus, Jesus, it is finished was his cry. Not even death could now deny the Son of God exalted high. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I believe there is a God in heaven who paid the price for all my sin, shed his blood to open up the way for me to walk with him, gave his life upon a cross, took the punishment for us, offered up himself in love. Jesus, Jesus, it is finished was his cry. Not even death could now deny the Son of God exalted high. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. come on, Paul, let's get you back.
I'll tell you, that's fabulous, Dave. What's that? The first one you played just in Hear Our Prayer. I've not heard that. Probably should have done. That's lovely.
Thank you
And-
so much. Take that as a great
it's-
compliment from you. You know, talking about the opening line for that, for every child that stands abused, you have written a lot of children's songs, haven't you? Songs for children.
And worked with your dear lady wife in the past. With,
Yes, that's right.
In fact, we were kind of jointly responsible, weren't we, Pat, for a song on the Queen's Christmas Message. I forget which year that was.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
I'll be
quite
quiet
a
then.
moment, and it really was very, very special.
But no, I mean, I have written quite a few kids' songs, and I love writing kids' songs as well. That's a different art in itself.
Yes.
Because for lots of reasons.
It's funny because it probably takes the same craft as well as, because sometimes, with a worship song, even though it might be very, very simple, you have to really work at the phrasing and to make it memorable with a good worship song. I'm not just talking about ones that's churned out, but one that really works. It's the same sort of craft in a sense, even though it may seem very simple. And I guess the same is with children's songs, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, certainly with children's songs that normally are written for children to sing, I mean, the kind of singability factor is hugely important. And a song, it can look great on the page. But like we say, about singing live earlier, playing songs live, I mean, you soon find out what bits of phrasing don't work, what bits maybe the people who are trying to sing it might stumble over. I mean, you look at, the old hymn books, they all had a reference to like the syllable count underneath, which is really important because it helps people who aren't necessarily musical kind of know what's coming, know what to expect, know where they're going, and that's just the same with kids.
Very good.
A kind of musical predictability, which doesn't have to be boring, but so you feel comfortable singing it. And there are a lot of modern worship songs, which, to be honest, they're really written as solos, great for solos, but congregations, just are bemused when they try and sing it because they just can't grasp it. And that's a skill in itself.
Well, come on, Paul. Why don't you put two songs together and do your thing just for a while? I'm going to go in the green room and have a cup of tea.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I'll do two very different ones. This is really new, so I might make a complete mess of it. We'll see. I wrote this just before Christmas, and like many people, we're all really missing seeing our family and friends. I mean, I have two sons and I have two grandkids, and they live 200 plus miles away. And we've seen them a few times, but we couldn't see them at Christmas. And for so many people, it's been a desperate struggle, desperately sad time that they can't actually see their families. And I wrote this just before Christmas, actually, and I did stick this on Facebook, so some of you might have heard it, but I was amazed at the response. I mean, so many people listened to it and got back to me, and it just showed how many people share these feelings. And that's one of the wonderful things about a song, where you can actually touch a nerve and express, perhaps in words and music, what other people are thinking, but you express it in a different way. This is called Strange Christmas. Strange Christmas this year, with unwelcome decorations of anxiety and fear, and tables laid with loneliness, uncertainty and tears. It's gonna be a strange Christmas this year. I want to see the faces behind the smiles we need to share, to wish each other all the best for the year that is to come. But all those good intentions this Christmas are undone. It's gonna be a strange Christmas this year, with unwelcome decorations of anxiety and tears, tables laid with loneliness, uncertainty and fear. It's gonna be a strange Christmas this year. I want to see my family and tell them how I miss the wonder of the human touch, the magic of a kiss. I want to hold my grandchildren, read and sing them songs. This painful separation just feels completely wrong. Oh, I'm stumbling through the dark. We long to dance into the light. This lockdown of our lives is like a chain that holds us tight. We need a star to follow. We need to be released. This year more than ever, we need the Prince of Peace. It's gonna be a strange, strange Christmas this year. Oh, it's pretty hard to talk about the season of good cheer. Still we hold on to our dreams, and we hope and persevere. It's gonna be a strange Christmas this year. We need a star to follow. We need to be released. 'Cause this year more than ever, how we need the Prince of Peace. This year more than ever, we need the Prince of Peace. It does, I'm just going to go back to the guitar for this last one. It does feel like we're getting towards the end of all this trouble. I mean, I really hope that's true. I know it's not going to happen in the next week or so. But spring is a wonderful time of hope anyway, you know, and as I've said before, we're so fortunate that we live here on the edge of Dartmoor, where the countryside is just beautiful. Yesterday was a lovely day, and we had a long walk, and the snowdrops are coming up, the crocuses are coming up, the birds are out, and it's just felt good to be alive. But in these times, there are so many people who are feeling left out, lost, and there are people who, you know, just don't have any concept, in a sense, of how in these times, you know, where's God and how does God care for them. So I won't give a long introduction to this song, but it's about inclusivity. It's about the fact that whoever we are, whatever we've done, wherever we've come from, that nobody is beyond the reach of the grace of God. So let me just get comfortable. God of the moon and stars, God of the near and far, God of these fragile hearts we are, I come to you. God of our history, God of the future that will be, what will you make of me? I come to you. God of the meek and mild, God of the reckless and the wild, God of the unreconciled, I come to you. God of our life and death, God of our secrets unconfessed, God of our every living breath, I come to you. God of the rich and poor, God of the princess and the whore, God of the ever open door, I come to you. God of the unborn child, God of the pure and undefiled, God of the pimp and pedophile, I come to you. God of the war and peace, God of the junkie and the priest, God of the greatest and the least, I come to you. God of the refugee, God of the prisoner and the free, God of my doubts and my certainty, I come to you. God of our joy and grief, God of the lawyer and the thief, God of my faith and my unbelief, I come to you. God of the wounds we all bear, God of the deepest dreams we share, God of our unspoken prayer, I come to you. God of a world that's lost, God of a lonely, lonely cross, God who has come to us, we come to you.
That is such a beautiful song, Paul. So beautiful. And I could pick up on the feed, you know, how people were responding. I remember the first time I heard that, actually, I was at we were together at a festival. It was actually Glastonbury, but it wasn't the Glastonbury. It was the Christian version of Glastonbury. But there was a significant crowd, several thousand people. And I was backstage milling around, and you were on the stage at that time, and you were doing your thing. And as I was walking across this field, I heard that song, and it just stopped me in my tracks. I thought, this is just such a beautiful, profound, amazing song, and I'm so pleased that you chose to share it with us on Homespun here today. I've got Mrs. Bilbrough here, who
Indeedy.
wants to say something, and why don't I pass you over, Pat? Yeah, before we do that, we're going to put up your website, Paul,
Okay.
which is coming up now, and I do encourage people to visit that, and also the Bandcamp site, where a lot of songs are on there. That particular song people can get. I mean, all of them.
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
get on
That's,
Bandcamp, and they can get from your website and all those things.
And YouTube and blah,
And
blah,
YouTube and all those things. You are actually going to be recording some stuff shortly. I know that you've written over lockdown, and I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, should be done by Easter, I hope. We'll see.
Yeah, which I'm sure they're going to be. Well, you played one of them at the beginning, I think. So
Yeah.
that's
one
really
new, two new ones, actually.
Yeah, 2 new ones. So thank you, Paul, so much for joining with us today.
Absolute
It's been
pleasure.
a real
It's been
privilege to
nice,
have
lovely
you.
to listen to your stuff. I've got another new song which I didn't play today, which is basically the chorus is "How long till we can sing together again?"
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah,
How long till we can share the beauty and pain that's in our songs?
yeah,
It's like this thing of not being able to sing. For congregations, and for individuals like us, and
yes.
it's painful
Yeah.
because it's what we do.
It's what we do. That communication
and
with
it's-
people, so
yeah.
important.
I mean, it's
Okay,
great that we can do this, but it's not the
Yeah.
same thing. Sorry.
That's right.
Go on.
That's right. It's the energy you get from each other. Pat, come on, say some things.
Have to go that way.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that Paul is here today. I know he can still hear me, although he's in the green room. And I'm just going to hold up 2 of these CDs that we did together. They're Paul's songs for children, and they're amazing. And these were recorded, Paul, 18 years ago, but they are evergreen as ever. I've used them over all those years, and they're amazing. And one of the songs that Paul did mention about, Surrounded by His Love, my choir were asked to sing on the Queen's Speech. That was 2004, Paul. And we sang one of your songs. And Dave said, why can't you? No, he didn't. He was really pleased it was your song. But it leads me on to what's been happening just the other day, when there's been the release of the song Lovely Day by Billy Ocean. And some of you know that my choir were privileged to sing the backing vocals on this new single. And I really make no apologies about plugging it today, because it's for such an important reason that it's been released. And it's to raise money for children's mental health. This next week, starting on Monday, is Children's Mental Health Week. And that's why the single has been released. And let me just tell you a little bit. 2 of my children actually were interviewed on ITV National News, and they're going to be interviewed again on BBC London News. So those of you around London will see it. But particularly talking about what it's been like for lockdown for children. Now, I know it's been bad, the homeschooling for teachers as well, being one, because you have to prepare lessons for children that are still in school, but for the majority at home as well. But for the children at home who have not been used to being homeschooled, it has been very, very hard. And there have been very many big mental health issues, not just with primary children, but probably particularly in the secondary schools as well. So I'm asking you, if you can, and I'm going to put a link up for the single Lovely Day, Billy Ocean with the Young Voices Choir. If you would download it, it's 99p, and really let's raise loads of money for this wonderful charity. And yeah, we're not talking about singing worship songs, but this is our worship. When we do things like this is part of our living worship. So I would really appreciate if you would do this. Thank you very much. I'll hand back to Dave. And brilliant, Paul. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah. Great.
Sorry.
That's all right. Pat knocking everything over. All right, I've just got a couple of announcements, which is some of you will be aware of my Hidden Kingdom podcast series, where I'm talking to people of various strands of creativity to try and sort of push back the borders and the barriers of what we can actually achieve with our gifting. And you know, we've had all sorts of people, poets and songwriters and worship leaders and so on. But this last week I had the privilege of calling up David and Dale Garrett. Well, it was actually David I spoke to. It was funny because they live in New Zealand, so it was Wednesday night for me, and it was Thursday morning for him. But we had a really good chat and a podcast interview conversation that will be coming up on stream in the next few days. So look out for that. It's really inspiring. And David was one of the early pioneers from New Zealand of worship music as we know it today. So he's got a lot of wise words to share. And actually what Paul was sharing there about songs being written for congregations rather than just for the performance is very central to what he had to say. He's 82, so he can say what he likes nowadays, and it's a very invigorating chat. And to say that next week we're going to have Gerard Kelly, who poet. We're going to be talking to him from his house in France, and he'll be sharing some of his poetry in amongst a more kind of worship devotional time that we're gonna have together. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks again to Paul Field. Do check out his website and his Bandcamp and all those things. God bless you all. I'm going to finish with one final song. We can change this world through the life we live. It's not the things we say, but the love we give. If we played our parts, then what a difference it would make. Soon the world would change to be a better place. A better place. An island, our lives are intertwined. Everyone has something they can give to comfort one another, to lend a helping hand by showing love and kindness day by day. We can change this world through the life we live. It's not the things we say, but the love we give. If we played our parts, then what a difference it would make. Soon the world would change to be a better place. A better place. Every race and color, it doesn't matter who you are. We can be a blessing in this world. Each person is important, special and unique, and we all need to live in harmony. We can change this world through the life we live. It's not the things we say, but the love we give. If we played our part, then what a difference it would make. Soon the world would change to be a better place. One more time. We can change this world through the life we live. It's not the things we say, but the love we bless you all. See you again next week.